Welcome to this short video which describes how I use the systems archetype, in this case shifting the burden to an intervener, to diagnose and correct a real-life organizational problem. Shifting the burden. The model consists of three boxes. Arrows signify a relationship between the boxes. There is always a problem symptom, a short-term fix, and a fundamental problem which drives a system model. In this archetype, there is also an unintended consequence or dependency loop between the short-term fix and the fundamental problem. I will now apply the archetype to the business problem, which is the business inadequately defining the context within which a contract would operate. The business would bring in its legal expert to define what it wanted to do, and questioning and research revealed that this behaviour resulted from an absence of management abilities, confidence, or competence. Over time, this would create an expectation within the business that legal would define the context. This created an unintended and undesirable consequence for legal, which I've labelled R1. The R signifying the existence of a reinforcing relationship at work. I've also added B1 and B2 to show the circular balancing relationships that also exist within the model. Let's have a look at the unintended consequence of R1 in a little more detail. Over time, this reinforcing loop had become the normal way of operation within the business. This behaviour gradually diminishing the ability for individuals to solve the problem themselves and creating an unintended dependency. It also resulted in the creation of additional workload, thereby shifting the burden to the intervener. So how do we solve this problem? Leverage needs to be applied at the fundamental problem. If we don't address the fundamental problem, both the problem symptom and the short-term fix will continue to exist, driving the continuance of the unintended consequence. So how do you generate leverage within a system model? Leverage is generated through the performance of what are called generative activities, directed at addressing the fundamental problem, which in this model was diagnosed as management's inability to define the context. Management's ability to define the context must therefore be developed, solving the context definition problem and removing the B1 loop. Legal must also manage down its propensity to define the contractual context for the business. This helps to address the dependency relationship and diminishes the strength of the B2 loop. So what was the solution? Let's bring back the system model. Addressing the fundamental problem breaks the model at the B1 loop. Consequently, B2 and R1 should no longer exist. The solution? Develop management abilities, supported by legal progressively managing down their propensity to define the contractual context for the business.